Kimi Antonelli claimed the Formula One World Championship lead for the first time in his career after taking advantage of a well-timed safety car to win the Japanese Grand Prix. Having dropped from pole to 6 on the opening lap as Mercedes start woes continued, he was running 4th ahead of the sole round of pit stops at Suzuka before a huge moment of fortune turned the race in his favour. With the trio who were running ahead of him, Piastri, Russell and Leclerc having already pitted, he was afforded a much quicker stop when Beerman's heavy crash triggered the safety car, giving the Italian the lead upon the restart. He was faultless from there on, unleashing superb pace over the second half of the race to finish 13 seconds clear of Piastri, who led a much improved display from McLaren. Russell, who expressed his frustration over the radio at his own misfortune, eventually had to settle for 4th behind Leclerc after failing to overtake him. Antonelli's 9.0 advantage over Russell makes him the youngest driver to lead the World Championship in sport, with Hamilton having previously held the record. The Italian will now hold a lead until at least May, with F1 now embarking on a 5-week break until the next race in Miami after the cancellation of races in Bahrain and Saudi due to the ongoing Middle East conflict. Antonelli said it feels pretty good. Of course it's too early to think about the championship, but we're on a good way. I had a terrible start. I need to check what happened. Then I was lucky with the safety cars to be in the lead, but the pace was incredible. It was really nice. The second stint felt very good with the car. I'm very pleased with that. Reigning world champ Lando Norris contributed to McLaren's improved display by passing Hamilton in the closing stages to take 5th. Pierre Gasly continued his strong start to the season by claiming 7th for Alpine after holding off a near race-long challenge from Red Bull's Max Verstappen. Lawson also benefited from the safety car as he came from 14th on the grid to finish 9th for Racing Bulls, while Esteban Ocon claimed the final point for Haas. Haas confirmed that Beerman had been cleared following an x-ray of his right knee, with the Brit having appeared in pain after walking away from the crash. Having claimed his maiden F1 victory 2 weeks earlier in China, though, Antonelli's been impressive all weekend in Japan, edging Russell in practice and then comfortably beating his teammate to pole after an unsuccessful setup change had put the Brit on the back foot. However, all of his good work was quickly undone when another terrible start saw him drop to 6th, with Russell also falling back from 2nd to 4th. By the time the pit window opened for a one-stop strategy, Russell recovered to 2nd and Antonelli to 4th, but the McLaren were eyeing victory with Piastri, having quickly regained the lead when Russell momentarily passed him on lap 8, expressing confidence he could hold the Mercedes off. Attempting to eliminate the possibility of being undercut by Russell, Piastri stopped at the end of lap 18, but Russell followed 3 circuits later when Leclerc had already pitted from 3rd. Having been afforded clear air by Leclerc stopping, Antonelli was displaying electric pace, closing on Russell before the Brit pitted, but then came a moment of race-defining fortune. Beerman, chasing Franco Colapinto in a battle for 17th on the 21st lap, lost control of his Haas and spun at Spoon into the barrier high speed, almost instantly triggering a safety car. Anthony was able to pit from the lead, while Hamilton also benefited and staying out from 6th to 4th. Russell, who already felt hard done by after suffering issues in qualifying before China and Japan, expressed disbelief over the radio. His misfortune. His task was stiffened when he was overtaken by Hamilton for 3rd at the restart, while he would then drop a further position to Leclerc, suffering an energy deployment issue. Both Leclerc and Russell had passed the struggling Hamilton, but the latter was denied a podium for the first time this season as the Ferrari held him off on the final laps. While he's enjoyed major fortune, the way Antonelli sped clear of Piastri suggested that Mercedes are still very quick. By recording successive Grand Prix victories, Antonelli achieved something Russell has never managed, laying it down a major marker in the early stage of the campaign that many expected the Brits to dominate. While Russell was most vocal about his misfortune over the radio, Piastri had more reason to be frustrated, having been in a position to see an unlikely victory before the safety car. The Australian had been unable to start either of the first 2 races after crashing in Australia and suffering a technical issue in China, but Sunday's performance suggests the reigning Constructors' Champion will be regularly challenging for victories sooner rather than later. Moving on then to the race classification, and Anthony coming up on top. I mean, obviously a bit of fortune there, but I mean, his pace at the end was pretty rapid, and yeah, to take the championship lead, hugely impressive. Oscar Piastri in 2nd. I mean, really good job from him. I think, you know, the McLaren, could it have won? I don't know. It's an interesting question, isn't it? But yeah, they seem to have taken off a big step forward. Leclerc, I think, did really well to hold on to 3rd with Ferrari's straight line speed deficit. Russell will be hugely frustrated, and yeah, annoyingly for him, he's got a month or over a month to wait until the next race. Norris in 5th. I think, yeah, it just didn't really have the pace of Piastri this weekend. I think a lot of that comes down to track running. Hamilton had those energy deployment issues, which I think will be really frustrating to him, because I think, yeah, it definitely would have cost him a position as Norris at least. Gasly in 7th, maximising the job again. Verstappen in 8th will be very disappointed, I think, to miss out. but still pushed it all the way. But yeah, he's not been a happy running at the moment, is he? Lawson in 9th, great job from him, getting points again. Ocon getting his first points will be big for him. Hulkenberg missing out in 11th. I think he'll be frustrated with that because Audi definitely did have the pace, but just really struggled with the starts. Hadjar not quite having the same pace as yesterday. Similar story for Lindblad. They'll be disappointed with that. And then you've got Colapinto 16th. When you see where his teammate is, I mean, yeah, that's very disappointing for him. He needs to turn it up. Sainz really struggling. Albon really struggling. I think they were using it as a bit of a test session. And then you've got the Cadillacs there. Aston Martin managing to make it to the end of the race is promising for them. But yeah, I mean, Beerman, a huge crash, and thankfully he's okay. But yeah, just not his weekend at all. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on our socials. Link in the description below for daily F1 news, meme, and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.